Tunisia-focused oil and gas junior Independent Resources has told investors it has identified 2 new substantial exploration leads at the Hisar Hadada project. Now this just 1 month after the company reached an important regulatory milestone for the prospect. Busy times. Greg Coleman is the chief executive. Now, Greg, substantial, that word is both an exhilarating and alarming word. What does it mean, and what are you comparing it with?
We look at our prospects on the basis of their commercial value, and we believe that these prospects and these new leads will be extremely attractive commercially if a successful well to encounter these kind of reserve levels. And by that I mean they would achieve a significant early cash flow, and they would really move the needle, certainly for our company, but for many companies.
So you're talking about reserves there. What estimates are, estimates are now at what barrel of oil equivalent at this stage?
These kinds of reserves are the prospects that we're looking at. The best one, the one we think has got the best chance of success, is at least 70 million barrels, but it has a very big range of potential outcomes. It could be as much as 175 million barrels of recoverable oil and natural gas. And on a more modest size, we have several others, of which 2 look particularly interesting. One could have 13 million barrels of oil equivalent, and the other about 50 million barrels of oil equivalent, both of which would be very attractive in Tunisia.
Okay, but of course the drilling hasn't started yet. But what's the likelihood that you could drill without any more seismic surveys being conducted? How confident are you that you can start a drilling campaign?
There are a number of different approaches to evaluating these kinds of prospects. Many companies rely entirely on seismic. We have a large inventory of 2-dimensional seismic on this permit already, and many people, including us in our more conservative moments, would like to have additional 3-dimensional seismic to further identify the prospects and reduce the risk of failure. However, we've decided that given all of the issues in Tunisia, that in order to give ourselves the best chance of doing this 3D seismic in the best locations, that we would try this remote sensing technique, remote sensing hydrocarbon survey, to pinpoint where best to focus our attention. And for a relatively modest cost, it's allowed us to pinpoint things which we hadn't seen before, and also to change our emphasis from where we've been looking before to some of the other prospects which we previously hadn't been spending as much time on as this survey would have us do.
Okay, so you've mentioned your innovative tools there, but you also highlighted issues in Tunisia. What are those issues?
Well, as many people will know, certainly in Britain, that this recent terrorist activity in Sousse has really put people off from wanting to travel to Tunisia, and the British government, of course, is being suitably conservative in terms of advising people on whether or not to travel. Fortunately, our permit is well away from the tourist area and the population centers in Tunisia, so operational activity carries on in the area, in the immediate area, not just with us, but with other companies. And the other thing, of course, that many people worry about in North Africa is the political changes, terrorism, and things like that. Again, our permit is relatively isolated from this activity because we're not in a population center, and it's actually very few, if any, people in our area, and it's actually quite isolated.
Okay, so how long does your permit last for? If there is a change in government, will you see a change in the length of the permit?
Well, our current permit has been extended through with the previous government, actually, and the current government, to August of 2016. And if we're in the process of doing work, which we expect to be by then we'd have a further 1-year extension to August of 2017. So there's plenty of time to drill wells and evaluate them. but we do need to get started within the next few months.
I was going to say, but really, is there time, and how dependent are you on developing relationships with partners and getting those farm-in deals?
Well, we are much reliant on new capital to join us. We've invested a lot of money ourselves over the past few years, and we believe that it's best to have a partner for this. One, because it gives us increased confidence that we're on the right track, and number two, obviously providing additional financial capability, which is important for us because we wouldn't be prepared or have the financial capability to do this on our own.
Okay, so you've outlined all the key foundations for a successful campaign. When should I be hearing from you next? What's the next key milestone on your calendar? On
this project, the next important milestone is to get a farm-in partner to commit to investing in the permit. And the next step after that would be to commence the process of drilling new wells.
Greg Coleman, Chief Executive of Independent Resources, thank you very much indeed for talking to us.
Thank you, Sarah.